Hey there guys, it's Tina and I'm back. And I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. If you're also back, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. But if you're new and maybe you like what you see, please consider subscribing because we have tons of fun here on this channel talking about makeup and all things beauty. And today I have another episode of Makeup Matchup, and I am slightly tempted to change it to Beauty Battle. Maybe we can use both titles because this is going to be a battle between the contour wands. So I have 3 different contour wands here and they're gonna battle it out today in this video to see which one of them takes the top spot in various different categories. So first up we have the original, the OG, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour one. Did I say Hollywood kind of funny? Yeah, the Hollywood Contour one. This one has been on the market for a while now and it's kind of a cult favorite. So much so that we have 2 new additions to the market that are meant to dupe the Hollywood Contour one. So this one is from Tarte. It's the Sculpt Tape Contour one, and it's been touted as a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Contour one. And then we have one from Flower Beauty. This is the Lowlight Liquid Contour, and this is a drugstore option that is now available. Both of these are newly released to the market, so let's stack them up against each other and see which one wins. So I'm gonna start out with the details for each of these products. So first up, again, we have the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour one. This retails for $42. It is available in 2 shades and contains 12 milliliters of product or 0.40 ounces. It is made in Italy and has an intended usage life of 12 months and is available for purchase through Sephora and CharlotteTilbury.com and other Charlotte Tilbury retailers. The Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour wand is a soft focus semi-matte formula that is lightweight, blendable, and buildable to create a well-contoured face. It has a cushion sponge applicator that makes creating gorgeous sculpted cheekbones easy. The formula also incorporates treated pigments that have good adherence and color uniformity that create shadows and define features for a natural finish. The formula has a lightweight and dry feel upon application for easy blending, and the result is a beautiful naturally sculpted look. And then next up we have the Tarte Sculpt Tape Contour. This retails for $35 and is available in 5 different shades and contains the same amount of product as the Charlotte Tilbury Contour one at 12 milliliters or 0.40 ounces. This was also made in Italy but has an intended usage life of 6 months and is available for purchase through the Ulta website as well as TarteCosmetics.com and other Tarte retailers. The Tarte Sculpt Tape Contour is like an instant facelift in a tube. Contour like a pro with this all-in-one easy sculpting tool. Hello Cheekbones creates instant definition for the look of a more defined face and high cheekbones. It includes skin invigorating ingredients such as shea butter, which moisturizes and conditions, licorice root, which brightens and color corrects, diamond powder, which helps blur imperfections, porcelain flower, which brightens and moisturizes, and mineral pigments that soothe and soften skin's appearance. And then last up is the Flower Beauty Low Light Liquid Contour. This retails for $14.49. It is available in 3 different shades and contains slightly more product than the other 2. It contains 14 milliliters or 0.47 ounces. And like the other 2, this one was made in Italy and similar to Tarte has an intended usage life of 6 months. It is available for purchase at Ulta and other retailers that carry Flower Beauty. The Flower Beauty Low Light Liquid Contour was developed to sculpt and define cheekbones effortlessly and provide skin with a natural finish. Infused with moisturizing ingredients to keep skin hydrated, this ultra weightless buildable formula blends into skin seamlessly. It features a unique soft cushion applicator to precisely dispense product directly onto the skin. The key ingredients are moisturizing goji berries and cranberry seed oil. All right, now that I've given you the details about each of these products and shown you the packaging up close and personal, as well as arm swatches, we're going to jump into a demonstration, and I'm going to apply each of these shades to my face so you can see how they apply and blend. For the demonstration, I think it will be helpful to show how these products apply both over foundation and on bare skin. People use different techniques when applying makeup. There's no one size fits all, so I think it's helpful to show these products demonstrated in different ways depending on how you wear makeup. So on one side of my face, I am wearing a very light layer of foundation. As usual for these kinds of demonstrations, I use my Too Faced Peach Perfect foundation. This is just a great skin tone match, and I think it's a great base product to use because it's not too matte, but it's also not too dewy, so it doesn't interfere with the actual product that I am applying over it. And then on the other side, I'm wearing nothing. No moisturizer, no foundation, no skincare, no nothing, okay? This is bare skin. And I do have oily combination skin, which is why I didn't apply any moisturizer, because my skin is not dry. And I'm not going to add moisture to help this product to blend better, you know? It's gonna demonstrate the results on mostly normal skin without any added emollient products to help with blendability. And I'll be applying each of these products using my BK Beauty 109 brush. This is a beautiful small contour brush, and I think it's perfect for applying a product such as this, and it's also synthetic, so it works well with liquid and cream products. So I have 3 and I'm going to swap between them for applying these products. So we're gonna go ahead and apply each of these different shades on my skin, blend them out, and show you how they look, again, over foundation and on bare skin. So let's go ahead and start out with the very first brand, which is the OG. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand. And the shade that I have in this is medium deep. And I'm attempting to apply the same amount of product on both sides of my face for consistency's sake. And as you can see, this shade is more on the cool tone side, so it has more of a neutral leaning undertone. There are no red or orange undertones, and this shade definitely does not lean on the golden side. It is more of a true contour color because of that more neutral undertone. And it's decently pigmented as well, so you don't need to apply a ton of product. And it blends pretty well on both sides of my face, whether it's over the foundation or on bare skin. And it gives you time to work with the product so it doesn't set down quickly. I'm able to blend this color out, and you can also build it up depending on the pigmentation that you're going for. For me, I'm just going to use 1 layer. And this color is very subtle on my skin once it's blended out. It gives a very understated, contoured effect to my face. It doesn't look too harsh or overwhelming. And even though it has more of a neutral undertone, it doesn't look gray or ashy on my skin, which I appreciate. And honestly, on both sides of my face, I see a little bit of patchiness. It doesn't look the most seamless, so I wouldn't say it blends better over foundation or on bare skin. I actually prefer applying this product over a set foundation base. So with powder and everything, it seems to blend and build a little bit better, but it's not patchy to the point of being irredeemable. If you apply a little bit more product and just concentrate your blend, you can cover up and even out that patchiness. So overall, I do like this shade a lot. I think it works really well. It blended really seamlessly on my skin. So let's go ahead now and jump into the other formulations, and I'm going to go in with the Tarte product now. So we're going to start out with the shade Warm Bronze, and I think the description of the shade is all in the name. It's a very warm leaning brown bronze shade, and by default this is definitely not a contour shade. Now, does that mean you can't use it the same way you would use a contour? Absolutely not. In fact, I kind of do like using bronzers as a bronzer kind of shade, where I use it as a bronzer and also as a contour. So I apply it to the hollows of my cheeks and to my hairline as we're doing in this demonstration. And this product, let me tell you right now, is very pigmented. A little, goes a long way. You do not need a ton of this product, and you can probably even tell that it's a little bit more intense, a little bit more saturated than the Charlotte Tilbury one. And this color, again, leans very warm. Even though I applied a similar amount in the Charlotte Tilbury demonstration, I feel like this product just packs a little bit more punch. So a little goes a long way, but it blends out really easily, really effortlessly. And it is a little bit more seamless in blend than the Charlotte Tilbury contour one, which is interesting that this product kind of blends a little bit more seamlessly, even though I applied way more product. But I still see slight areas of patchiness where everything is not completely even. And I feel like it's the same across the board with these products. They can come off a little bit patchy if it's not blended the right way. So you just have to be a little bit more careful with your blend and with your application to make sure that you don't end up with any bare spots. But this color I think works beautifully as a bronzer, as a bronzer. It is a beautiful color. It really warms up my skin, but as you can see, it's definitely much different from the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. Now let's move on to the second shade, which is Deep Bronze. Now this shade is much richer than the warm bronze shade, and it's almost slightly too deep for my skin tone, which is great to see because the Charlotte Tilbury option is the deeper of the two shades available. So with Tarte you have more selection and deeper, richer shades, and this one is a beautiful bronze shade. Again, it leans more on the warm golden side, but it's not orange, it's not too red, which I appreciate. If I'm going for a bronzer, I prefer it to be more golden, so it's gonna give me a natural bronze look to my skin. And with deeper tan skin, I feel like golden is the way to go with a bronzer. When you get into the really rich, deep shades, then you can have a more red undertone. But for this shade, I think it just works really well. I tried to apply a little less product than the warm bronze because I realized how pigmented the shades are, and I still overdid it. So again, a little goes a long way, but the product blends really easily and effortlessly on the skin, and I just look like I came back from vacation and I have a beautiful bronze look to my skin. And again, you can use this shade as a bronzer to give you a little bit of contour to the hollows of your cheeks and a little bit of bronzing on the forehead area. And again, I think this color just works really well for my skin. I like the formulation, and this didn't apply patchy at all, and I'm wondering if my blending is just getting better. But overall, again, I don't think these products are difficult to blend and build. They don't get patchy inherently. It just depends on your technique and application. So now let's go ahead and jump into the drugstore option from Flower Beauty. And I'll start out with the lighter shade, which is medium. This one is more on the cool tone side, and it's veering closer to the Charlotte Tilbury shade rather than the Tarte options. And this shade is very, very light. You can barely see it on my skin when I apply it. And as I blend it out, it gives a very, very subtle effect, if it's even discernible. It's not a shade that I would gravitate towards given my complexion. This is definitely for lighter complexions and lighter skin tones. It's even lighter than the Charlotte Tilbury option. So if you were looking for a cheaper alternative and you have a lighter skin tone, this may be the one for you to pick up. It blends pretty easily, and again, it's similar to the other two in formulation. If anything, this may be slightly less pigmented. There's less oomph to it, less saturation, so you do have to build it up. But again, it builds really easily, and this one doesn't really leave behind any patchiness, but would I be able to tell given that this shade pretty much blends in with my complexion? I'm not too sure. So let's go ahead and grab the other shade, which is Deep. This is the darkest shade that they have available, and again, it leans more on the cool tone side. Now this one I was expecting a little bit more. It doesn't read very pigmented on my skin. I don't know who they're considering deep in this sense, but again, this is veered towards lighter complexions. I don't see this working on anyone deeper than tan, because on me, again, it blends in with my skin tone. You can see a slight undertone difference on my skin because it is on the cooler side, so it has that more ashy tone to it. it does show up that way because it shows the undertone difference. But as far as depth, I'm not getting a lot of color from this. It looks a little bit more intense on the bare skin side, but on the foundation side, it almost just blends in and gives me a slight shadow to my skin, which may be suitable for someone that's slightly lighter than me. But for me, this shade doesn't work. And I'm actually offended that they had the nerve to call this deep, but who am I? Here is the shade. It looks okay. It doesn't really do much. In fact, it's so much lighter than the Charlotte Tilbury shade. I'm almost ready to applaud Charlotte Tilbury given that she only has 2 shades available. But yeah, the Flower Beauty option is not one that would work out for deeper tan skin. And I would consider myself a dark tan. So for deep skin tones, this is definitely not going to work. Now that I've demonstrated these products individually on my face, I wanted to go ahead and pop in some comparisons so you can see how the shades differ between each brand. So let's start out with the lighter shades from Tarte and Flower Beauty up against the Charlotte Tilbury Tan Deep version. And I'll show you these swatched out on both my arm and my face. And as you can see, all of these shades are different from each other, both in depth and in undertones. These are not similar at all. There are no true dupes here in the lighter shades that I picked up from these 3 brands. Now let's show you the deeper options for these shades. We have the medium deep version from Charlotte Tilbury, which is the darker of the 2 shades available. Up against deep bronze from Tarte, there is a shade that is richer and deeper than this specific tone from Tarte. And then the deep shade from Flower Beauty. Again, this is the darkest shade that is available. Again, as you can see, none of these shades really compare to each other in depth or undertone. All right, now that I've gotten the product details, the demonstration, and the shade comparisons out of the way, how about we do a dive into the actual makeup matchup portion of this video, where we compare the products up against each other and see how they rank. So let's compare prices. I think you can already tell which one is the most expensive to the more affordable option. So Charlotte Tilbury comes in as #1. That is the priciest option available, followed by Tarte, which contains the same amount of product but is $7 cheaper, and that is a savings of roughly 16%. Then we have, of course, Flower Beauty, which is the far more affordable option. You're saving almost 60% versus the Tarte version and over 65% when compared to the original from Charlotte Tilbury. So flipping that around, Flower Beauty is the most affordable, with Tarte coming in at #2 and Charlotte Tilbury being the most expensive. Now, how about the actual amount of product that you get? Because that factors in as well as far as value for money. So again, Flower Beauty comes in at #1 with the most bang for your buck because it contains the most product at 14 milliliters or 0.47 ounces. And it's also cheaper, so of course, you're getting more product at a cheaper price point. Tarte comes in second again with the same amount of product as Charlotte Tilbury at 12 milliliters or 0.40 ounces, but it's cheaper than Charlotte Tilbury. And of course, Charlotte Tilbury is bottom of the pile with that $42 price point and the same amount of product as the Tarte option. Now, what about the actual packaging? I feel like this is going to be a personal preference because they're almost identical. They all come in squeeze tube plastic packaging with a cap and a cushion applicator that has a twist on, twist off lock-in mechanism, which I think is critical for this type of packaging and this type of product. So I'm happy that all 3 of them have that feature built in, and all of them function pretty much the same. The cushion applicators are all soft. None of them are scratchy or hard. They're all comfortable, easy to apply. Even the sizes seem to be identical for all three. So really at this point, it just boils down to aesthetics, because again, they all kind of feel the same in the hand and during application. The Charlotte Tilbury one is beautiful with this bronze packaging, the Charlotte Tilbury logo in brown. It's elegant. The Tarte option has gold writing all over and a gold cap. Also beautiful, and I like the little gold accent. And then the Flower Beauty one fits in with their aesthetic with a white cap and white lettering on the container. And then the actual packaging is in brown, and it slightly matches the shade that is included. So the medium shade looks a little bit different from the deep shade, so you can kind of tell the options apart, while the Tarte options look pretty much the same, so you'll have to read the shade name on the back. So comparing the three, I really can't choose one that's better than the other. Aesthetically, I do prefer the Charlotte Tilbury and the Tarte options over the Flower Beauty, just because this feels a little cheaper with the white cap, but I can't choose between these two, and the white cap is just a personal preference. So I'm gonna have to give this one a three-way tie. All of them look, feel, perform the same packaging wise. Now, as far as purchasing and accessibility goes, I'm gonna have to also give this a three-way tie, because these products are available at multiple retailers. You can buy the Tarte one online through the Tarte Cosmetics website. It's also available at Ulta and other Tarte retailers. Same thing goes for Charlotte Tilbury. You can find it through her website as well as Sephora.com and other retailers that stock Charlotte Tilbury. And the Flower Beauty one is also available online through their website, but it's also in store at Ulta and other drugstore retailers that carry the Flower Beauty line. It's, to me, a tie, but if one had to inch out the others by just a little bit, it would probably be Flower Beauty, just because it's available in more places. It's available at like CVS and Ulta. You should be able to grab this at your local drugstore. So this one I feel like may inch the others out in accessibility, but just by a little bit. Let's talk about the shade ranges though, because that also factors into accessibility. Because even though you may be able to grab one brand over the other because of your access to certain stores, that may not actually make that product accessible to you because of the inclusivity or lack thereof of the shade range. So number one by a landslide is Tarte. Tarte Cosmetics has 5 shades available, and they go really, really deep. And I appreciate that from a shade range. I am middle of the road when it comes to these shades. I picked up 2 shades, deep bronze and warm bronze, and even these 2 shades are very rich on my skin tone. So if you're deeper than me, you're going to be able to find a shade that will work for you in this range. And it goes slightly deeper too. So I feel like Tarte is far and beyond the most inclusive and has shades that span a larger range of skin tones. And then next up would be Charlotte Tilbury. Believe it or not, that only has 2 shades available, which I know you're like, wait, but there are only 2 shades. Flower Beauty has 3. Hear me out, okay? Charlotte Tilbury's medium deep shade works on me, okay? It is a beautiful shade, and if you're slightly deeper than me, I can see this working as a subtle contour. It definitely is a beautiful shade on me, and it gives me that sculpted look. And the light shade I've seen work on pale skin tones, and a lot of people seem to love that. So even though she only has 2 shades available and she doesn't have a rich deep shade to cover dark skin tones, she still covers a better range than Flower Beauty with their 3 shades that are available. Because the 3 shades that Flower Beauty has, listen, okay, I don't even know what they were thinking, because I picked up medium and deep barely shows up on me. I can make it work, but it when I say barely shows up, I mean barely shows up. So if that's their deep option, then what are they doing over there? Who are they catering to? Obviously, the light and confused. So the ranking is definitely Tarte at number 1, Charlotte Tilbury number 2, and Flower Beauty at the bottom, like scrambling, because I don't know what the hell they're doing over there, okay? cut it out because that's garbage. Straight garbage. All right, let's talk about the ingredients. And this is something that I started scrutinizing a little bit later on when I realized all three of them were made in Italy. So I'm like, are they using the same manufacturer? Like, what's going on? And comparatively, the ingredient list for Charlotte Tilbury and for Tarte are very similar. The top ingredients from both Tarte and Charlotte Tilbury are almost identical, except for Charlotte Tilbury includes mica as one of her main ingredients. Tarte does not have mica in their list, but they do have silica and diamond powder further down. They also include mango seed butter and shea butter, as well as licorice root extract, which are those skin loving ingredients. I can't specifically pinpoint any skincare ingredients in the Charlotte Tilbury list. As far as the Flower Beauty ingredient list, it's significantly different from the other two. The main ingredients don't even correlate. We do have mica in the formulation as the second ingredient, which is similar to the Charlotte Tilbury option. And then we have some oils. So we have jojoba seed oil, cranberry seed oil, and sunflower seed oil, which are going to help with those hydrating properties to the formula. But other than that, this ingredient list looks pretty sparse and pretty basic. So the top ingredient list for me would probably be Tarte because of those skin loving ingredients. But Charlotte Tilbury's close because they have a very similar formulation. Flower Beauty down here at the bottom looking crazy, okay? They do have some oils in here which can be beneficial to the skin, but it's still a very basic run-of-the-mill formula for a liquid product, and it's not very impressive. Now, with all those ingredient details and the shades that are available, how does that actually affect the product and the performance, the formulation, how it applies, how it blends? I'm not sure I can rank these, so I'm just going to list the pros and cons of each formula and then tell you what my favorite is based on all the different key points highlighted. All right, so let's start out with Charlotte Tilbury. I do like the shade that is available in medium deep. It is a beautiful contour shade. It has a cool undertone, but it's not too strongly gray, so I think it works really well as a contour option, especially on my warmer skin. I do tend to lean more golden, so a shade that is too strongly cool or too neutral can look ashy on me. But this shade, I think, is just a great balanced neutral that looks great on me, gives me that shadowing. It can chisel out my cheekbones without looking like ash on my skin. So I really do like the shade in this Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour one. I also do like the applicator wand. While I may not be able to really control how much product is dispensed, I feel like the pigmentation level of this product is ideal, so it's hard to overdo, and the product blends out really easily before drying and setting down. And I like that. It is a really easy formula to work with. It blends easily, even if I overdo it a little bit, but a little does go a long way. And the product still stays moist. I know people hate that word, but it still stays moist in the cushion applicator. So even if I use this today, 2 or 3 or 4 days later, I still be able to use the product that is still in the wand, so it doesn't dry out really quickly, which is good because if you dispense too much product, you don't want that to go to waste. So it's good to know that it doesn't just dry down and cake up in the applicator. You can still use it later on, but it does set down beautifully on the skin to a really natural finish. It's not shimmery or glowy, which was something that I was a little bit nervous about. No, it's actually a beautiful, like, natural matte finish, and it looks glorious on the skin. So I really do like the formulation for the Charlotte Tilbury as well as the shade. As far as the Tarte options, I also like the packaging for the same reason I like the Charlotte Tilbury option. The applicator also is soft. It dispenses enough product and holds on to that product and keeps it moist, so I can continue to use this product over and over again, no matter how much I happen to dispense. The difference between this and the Charlotte Tilbury wand is that these are very pigmented. They're more pigmented, more intense than the Charlotte Tilbury option. So very little goes a long way, and you can overdo it really quickly. Now it blends out and shares out really well, so you can kind of step it back a bit, but you can still go overboard. My recommendation is just to keep your foundation brush handy so you can blend out some of the excess. This blends in well with foundation and on bare skin, so you can really back it off if you need to. So I don't find that the pigmentation is necessarily a drawback. You just want to be a little bit more careful. I think that pigmentation actually lends to it working for deeper skin tones, which I again appreciate from a brand. If you're catering to deeper, richer skin tone, then I am on your side. So I think the Tarte one kind of edges out the Charlotte Tilbury in the pigmentation factor, but the shades are vastly different, okay? The Charlotte Tilbury one gives me a contoured look, while the Tarte options are very warm. These are more like bronzer shades rather than contour shades, and they're touted as contours. So I think they missed the point of what a contour is intended to do, and they would have probably been better off marketing these as bronzer ones, because this ain't sculpting. I mean, it does sculpt. All right, let me take that back. You can do a little bronzer with it, but if you were expecting a true contour, these aren't true contour shades. These are very warm, especially the shades I picked up, which are warm bronze and deep bronze. And I mean, it's kind of in the name. It says bronze. So why are these marketed as contour ones? Because these are bronzers, okay? But I don't mind that. I love a bronzer. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for a true contour, you're gonna need to go with Charlotte Tilbury. But if you're looking for a bronzer that can be used as like a bronzer, then you can go with the Tarte. So it's all about preference here. And that's why I can't really choose one or the other. It's just, what are you looking for? What are you intending to do with these products? You know what I mean? I personally like the Tarte version for myself because I love to bronzer. I like a good liquid bronzer or a cream bronzer. So these are right up my alley. But again, if you want a true contour, Charlotte Tilbury. Bronzer, then go with Tarte. I haven't checked out the other shades, so I don't know if they're like cool shades mixed in. But based on the reviews that I've seen, it seems like all these shades are on the warm leaning side. As far as Flower Beauty, the same thing can kind of be said for the formulation. It blends out really well. It's kind of seamless. It works over foundation or on bare skin. It blends out really nice. Here's the thing though, it barely shows up on my skin tone, even the deep shades. So it's like, again, what are you doing here with the shade range? This is garbage. Like, are you serious? And then the shades aren't even flattering. So they come close to a true contour. They're more comparable to the Charlotte Tilbury shades, but they're negligible. Like, why did you even bother? Are you serious? And the formulation feels a little bit, I don't want to say thinner. Yeah, but I guess it's kind of thinner, and that also affects the pigmentation and color payoff. So it feels a little bit thinner than the other two shades, which have a little bit more body to them, a little bit more oomph, but it still kind of works the same way. So if you're looking for a true contour, if you're looking for an affordable option, and if you were pale, then these may be right up your alley. But if you're medium tan, even tan, then these aren't for you, because they don't, like, why did I even bother? Like, these two are just useless in my collection, because I would choose the Charlotte Tilbury over these if I wanted a contour. So I don't like these at all based on the shades and the formulation. I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's not a bad formulation. It does have that natural matte finish. It's not a bad formula, but it's not very impressive. Even though it's cheaper and has more product, it's not impressive enough for me to actually recommend. So really, I would say skip the Flower Beauty one unless you are very pale and you're looking for a true contour. Then it's worth checking out. but I would go with the more expensive versions. Yeah, I know. It's not even being snobby, but like these work for me while the Flower Beauty one doesn't work, you know? The Charlotte Tilbury is my go-to for a contour, and then the Tarte works great as a bronzer situation. I would recommend, honestly, the Tarte one if I had to choose one, just because I think it works better for a variety of skin tones. There are more options available. It's cheaper, same amount of product as the Charlotte Tilbury one, and it has skin loving ingredients. So it kind of edges out the Charlotte Tilbury, but the real decision is gonna come down to the shades. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a contour? Then it's Charlotte Tilbury. Are you looking for a bronzer? Then it's Tarte. Are you looking for richer, deeper shades? Then it's Tarte. Are you looking for lighter shades? Then it's probably Charlotte Tilbury. But both of them perform almost identically for me, and they're interchangeable, and I like having both because one, again, contour, one's for bronzer. But I prefer Tarte just because more shades available, and I kind of like to use a bronzer shade to bronzer. But again, that's my personal preference. So it's all up to you what you're looking for and what your needs are as far as the shade range goes. So there you have it, guys. That is my makeup matchup between these contour ones that have recently hit the market. I know there are other versions available now. There's one from Makeup Revolution, and I'm sure other brands are gonna come out and try to dupe the original, the OG from Charlotte Tilbury. But I am actually happy with the ones I have from both Tarte and Charlotte Tilbury, so I won't be trying out any others. I love liquid bronzers though, so don't count me out. But there you have it. That's the breakdown of all these brands. Let me know if this video was helpful. And seeing the swatches hopefully was also very helpful in deciding if you wanted to check out any of these products. I will leave links down below on where you can pick them up. If there's an asterisk next to any of those links, that means it is an affiliate link, which means I will get a small sales commission if you make a purchase through those links. Doesn't change the sale price, it just gives me a kickback for you using my link. I also have my affiliate links down below for various different brands as well as discount codes, so you can feel free to use those as well. Those will give me a kickback again if you see an asterisk next to them. I will also leave links to my Instagram and Twitter where you should be following me along, and you can also join my channel now. There are channel memberships available. It's a low price monthly, and I consider it as a tip jar. If you enjoy my content and you want to help me put back into creating more, then you can join the membership. I also have super thanks available, which is also like a tip for the channel to help me, again, put back into the content. So feel free to use those options if you feel so inclined. But either way, I'm still happy you're here watching. You can also support the channel by leaving a comment, hitting subscribe, and sharing with your friends. And until my next video, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you. Bye, guys.